we've got an original Apple TV Plus thriller with a Cambridge mathematician at its center. Let's talk about Prime Target. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for Prime Target. This just wrapped season 1 a few weeks ago on Apple TV Plus, and no word whether this is going to get a second season. But it's not like it's very open-ended. There's not like a lot of cliffhangers with this, so it could serve just kind of as a one-season show and not be that open-ended. But it's also not listed as a miniseries, so I think maybe there is potential here for future seasons. So we'll see about that as we continue. But as Apple usually does, they just rolled out one episode of this a week until they finished the season. So we'll review this here in just a second. First, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a subscriber already for Dan Reviews It, thank you so much for that. I love it when you guys return and click on my videos. But if you're not, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell too, so you get the alerts for all my new videos. Or you could just like this video, comment below, share it on your socials. That stuff, of course, helps the channel out. All right, so we have an original concept here. This is not based on any book or anything else. And we have Edward Brooks, who's played by Leo Woodall, who you might recognize from season 2 of The White Lotus. That is probably his highest profile role to date. So he is analyzing prime numbers at Cambridge. He's a mathematician, and he's being monitored by NSA agents in his quest. And his head professor is kind of warning him to stay off of this project that he's working on, and then he ends up getting killed, the professor. So that all happens in the first episode. It's kind of the premise for the show to set it up. I know I don't love giving spoilers like that away, but it's sort of involved in the premise of the show. So anyway, one of the NSA agents that we're focusing on is Taylor Sanders, who is played by Quintessa Swindell, and you may know them from Black Adam, and I think they were in one of the seasons of Euphoria as well, but they play an NSA agent spying on various academics, not just Edward Brooks, but he certainly catches the interest of the NSA, and so the two of them end up teaming up to kind of fight to keep both of them alive, but specifically Brooks and his brilliant, beautiful mind. So they end up traveling to Baghdad and some other places. So it's a little bit of a jet-setting thriller. So all right, that's all we'll talk about, I think, with the premise. Other people involved in this show. Really, I mean, this show is full of people I don't really recognize, but Sidney Babbitt Knudsen, David Morrissey, Stephen Ree. I know him from way back. He was in The Crying Game, 30 years ago. And Martha Plimpton, we recognize her. She has a minor role as well. Of course, we love Martha Plimpton. But yeah, this show is, for me, a huge miss. It's I think a bit of a missed opportunity. The concept is interesting, but the problem is, well, there's two problems. One is this is not for a series. This would be much, much better served as a thriller film, and it reminds me of other films sort of in this vein. Pelican Brief, I think, is one that definitely comes to mind. But because this is an 8-episode show, and the episodes aren't quite a full hour, they're about 43 minutes, like they would be on a network. So in total, it's probably, I don't know, 6.5 hours or something like that. But still, there's not only a lot of padding here, but there's a lot of unnecessary twists that either, go unresolved, or they just don't really matter at all to the main story. They're sort of side quests for these characters. And if this were a 2.5-hour movie, I think a lot of that would be tightened up a bit. So that is one problem. Another problem is that they don't necessarily, like, I'm not a math guy, right? But they don't necessarily explain what is going on in Edward's mind. Like he'll just be jotting down a bunch of numbers, and he knows what that means, but to us, the audience, we're like, oh, okay, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm not sure what you're implying there. None of this seems to make a whole lot of sense to me. So, without that context, and look, what is the reason for him to he's not going to break the fourth wall and specifically tell the audience, oh, this is, why I'm doing this, but he could tell another character, maybe. So there's a lot of that, especially in the first couple episodes, where before we're really getting to a lot of the thriller aspect of it, where he's really just, kind of showing off his mathematician skills and everything. Okay, well, that's meaningless to me. I don't know anything about that. The acting's okay, but the dialogue is pretty clunky here as well. The acting's like okay, it's serviceable for this type of show. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of Emmy love for these actors, but I think they do a good enough job with the material. But some of the dialogue is just, like I said, it's just very clunky. So overall, this is a bit of a miss. But look, if you watch the first episode or two and you're invested and you want to see more, it does end fairly closed ended. So if we don't end up getting a season two, I don't think you'll be disappointed that you watched it if you're enjoying it. For me, not so much on the enjoyment tip, and a rare misfire for Apple TV Plus. Look, they are usually for me one of the the higher echelon streaming services. They have a pretty good track record, but every so often, every few months, they'll put something out, and it's just the law of averages that is a bit of a clunker, and that is Prime Target. Unfortunately, I leave it with a D plus. All right, but look, it's an interesting concept. Maybe you're a little more math adept than I am. Maybe you'll know what all these formulas are and stuff that he keeps writing down. I don't know. But for me, that part definitely did not do it. All right, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It, and I will see you next time.